Hi, welcome to a Streetcar Named Desire revision video. I'm going to be working on context in this specifically. The American Civil War was from 1861 to 1865, where the Confederate States and the United States of America were in conflict. The northern states wanted to abolish slavery due to it being evil, whereas the southern states saw it as being essential because this is where their money was coming from. This is because the South's economy was from plantations and the black slaves had to grow cotton and tobacco. The southern states surrendered and Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery with the 13th Amendment, and it took a long time for the southern states to recover due to the economic decline. Blanche could be seen as the embodiment of the old plantation culture, as she is from the South, whereas Stanley is an immigrant who is a new American from Poland. This can reflect the cultural conflict between Blanche and Stanley that the United States and the Confederate States had, as they are binary opposites. Laws. The Napoleonic Code was a French civil code recognized in New Orleans, where a woman's property was in the hands of their husbands. This emphasizes the idea of a patriarchal society, and Stanley talks about this a lot. Jim Crow laws were from 1877 to 1954. They were racial segregation laws that separated blacks and whites in the southern United States. Blanche holds traditional values as she reinforces racism. For example, in the play, she can be portrayed as disparaging towards Stanley. For example, in this quote, she can come across as racist. Her racist attitudes can be an influence to why she dislikes Stanley. In the film adaptation, it portrays Blanche as skeptical and negative when she gets off the streetcar, as she is in a new atmosphere which doesn't hold traditional values. The Great Depression was in between the 1920s and the 1930s. The Roaring Twenties was a period of prosperity for many Americans, such as new inventions which changed lifestyles such as women's, where women had free time due to things like Hoovers and stuff like that. This period of prosperity almost disappeared overnight due to the 1929 Wall Street crash, which caused the economy to decline in the United States. Wall Street was sent into panic and wiped out millions of investors. Some social effects of this were unemployment, homelessness, loss of status in communities, and despair. All of the things that Blanche has. Some cultural effects: mass migration from rural to urban areas, fall in birth rates, rise in divorce or abandoned spouse as a cheaper alternative. A Streetcar Named Desire was written just after America came out of the Great Depression, and the play was set in this period and the characters experienced it. Blanche portrayed the difficulties of unemployment and debt in the US, and although her mental state isn't directly linked to this event, it links to several things such as Alan's death. It was influenced by her economic situation. The Dubois sisters originated from Mississippi, and they were badly affected by unemployment due to the loss of Belle Reve. World War II. Stanley was a soldier in the war, which affects the treatment of his character, as he is a hero. He wants to be treated with respect and is very patriotic about the US. Women were not usually sent out in the war. Stella is submissive and inferior towards him, which puts emphasis on the patriarchy. He presents himself as having more value due to his service in the army. He's dominant in the household. This gives the idea of Stella still holding the stereotypical role of a housewife, as in during this period people were still holding the traditional housewife role and men were the breadwinners in the family. They usually absorbed men's anger as men let out their frustration on women because of the exploitation they suffer at work, and this can justify Stanley's aggressive attitude. Another different interpretation could be that the play can be looked at as an example of a soldier returning from the war and resettling into society. A bit of history on Tennessee Williams' life. His real name was Thomas, I don't know how to say the middle bit, Lanier Williams, and was born in Columbus, Mississippi on March 26, 1914. Blanche being sent to a mental hospital was based on his sister Rose, where his mother betrayed his sister, Rose, and sent her to a mental institute where she had brain surgery. This was considered an act of treachery. William's father was the influence of Stanley's character, who was a heavy drinker, poker player, and a rough person that caused torment in his life. Tennessee Williams was also homosexual and knew the attitudes towards his sexuality at the time. Blanche's husband's suicide was due to him being a homosexual. In the 1940s, gay people were so afraid of society going against them that they got married to conceal their true identity. The loss of Blanche's plantation, Belle Reve, means beautiful dream, and that links to her clinging onto illusions. And the term suggests that it is an illusion, but ironically, it is the only one that has actually existed in Blanche's life. The play was set in New Orleans, Louisiana, which was famous for its jazz music, multiculturalism, and was also one of the first places where homosexuality was tolerated. It had a reputation for sexual freedom. Tennessee Williams lived in New Orleans for a bit. Blanche took a streetcar named Desire that transferred her to a streetcar named Cemeteries that brought her to Elysian Fields. This is an allusion to Greek mythology where they believed heroes went after their death, which is equivalent to purgatory in the Christian religion. This represents Blanche's last stop and final resting place, as at the end of the play, she leaves the French Quarter and goes to a mental institute as she is scarred and damaged for life. And yeah, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this context is okay. Obviously, this is not every single piece of context that you can add. There is way more if you search the depths of the internet. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you. Have a good day. Love ya!